Welcome to Those Guys Sports. It is your boy Mike, and it's my Raptors weekly podcast. I decided to do no background, just me talking. It's like a beam of heaven's light behind me. But really, I just feel like, I had a couple things I want to talk about in regards to the Raptors. But when you see so much reports about something, you feel like it's up to you. Like you feel you just got to say something. Because at one point, it gets kind of like borderline sickening. But it's not really, I don't think it's reached the point where it's sickening, but it's just kind of like, I don't get what the agenda is. Like, what's the Raptors' agenda? Make sure you like, subscribe, follow me on TikTok as well. I just need to understand what the Raptors are trying to do. Do you want Pascal Siakam to be gone? Do you want him here? Do you want him for your organization? Do you believe he's a staple? I need to figure out what's its purpose. And the reason why I'm asking these questions, the reason why I'm saying all this is because there's another report that came out from Michael Grange about teams that are interested in Pascal Siakam. And I get it. He's an all-star, an all-NBA player. Teams are going to be interested. But it seems like every single week there's something. First, it was the Atlanta Hawks. Then now it's the Pacers. But then it's also, oh, it's weird that Pascal is not around his teammates. Pascal's normally around his teammates during summer league. What is he doing? Is he distancing himself from the team? What type, like, again? We're doing this again? Like, and I see people on Twitter starting to really notice this, that like this doesn't make sense. Are we trying to get this guy away from the team? Are we slowly saying like, hey Pascal, we're done with your services? I just want to understand what's going on. Like, I don't get it. Like, I love Pascal. I think Pascal should stay. I think he's an all NBA player. He wants to stay on the team. I think there's just more moves outside the margins that can be made. I always talk about being a Raptors fan at such a young age, seeing this team go through multiple changes. I don't want to go through the Young Guns era again. Like, I don't want to go through the Young Guns era. I don't want to go through the Scotty and whatever, like, unless they were getting Scoot at the time, but now they're not. But I wouldn't have wanted to see that. Like, I don't want to see the bad Raptors. I don't want to see the 30-win Raptors. It's depressing to see the 30-win Raptors. So I'm not a big fan of trading Pascal. If he gets you 40 wins, I think last season was very annoying for a lot of fans and of course for the team in large, that everyone just is so willing to gut the team. Even like listening to people who like talk about the Raptors professionally, get paid to talk about the Raptors. I just hear even them speaking, and I'm thinking to myself, like, what's going on? Like, everyone's like, oh yeah, let's trade Pascal. Let's do this and that. Oh, we need a direction. We need a direction. It's kind of like, damn, like I'm okay with the patience. I know it can seem a little annoying, and I have another spiel I was going to talk about what I'm actually being impatient about the Raptors, but like this is not it. Like the wanting to trade Pascal to me is not it. An All NBA player who gives you 24, 8 and like 6, like you're where are you getting that from? Like OG's not giving you that. I'm sorry. All the OG fans out there, all the people who believe this is the season that OG's gonna break out, he hasn't done it yet. He just hasn't done it. Pascal, if people really paid attention to like this is even 5 years ago. 5 years ago, Pascal to Pascal right now is such a different player. Like the best player on your team is in constant trade rumors, like constant. Why would he want to be close to Masai and Bobby right now? Why would he want to be close to the team when he's thinking he's out the next day? What I don't like, and I'll never like this, and I know, it should be player empowerment. It still should be the team should do what's best for them. I agree on both ends. I don't like the thought of being sneaky about it. The DeMar DeRozan, the way he left was horrible. He wanted to stay. When his free agency was looming, we had people like Stephen A. Smith, Chris Broussard, all those people. You hear the videos, all claiming that DeMar's out of the door. He's leaving. DeMar's getting out of here. Everyone was saying the same thing, but then DeMar, moment one, re-signed and took a pay cut just so they can potentially get other guys on the team. Now you look at someone like Pascal, who probably would have been traded to Atlanta, but said, I'm not re-signing with this team. So whatever. Wants to re-sign with Toronto. But now I'm thinking like with all this actions now, maybe he will test free agency. I don't know. Maybe he will. And like, there's just so much rumors, and I just hate the honestly borderline fakeness of it all. I don't like the borderline fakeness from Masai and Bobby. If I'm being truthful in what I'm thinking, I don't like the thought that they're thinking of trading this guy, and then let's say he has a really good season, the Raptors are good. He's gonna sit down and Bobby's gonna sit down and be like, "Oh, we really want to keep Pascal. We've always loved Pascal." Like, come on. Like, I don't know, man. To me, if you want to trade the guy and you're not getting what you want from other suitors, then clearly you value him more. So if you value him more, then keep him. Since you value him so much, keep him. I don't think Utah wanted to trade Donovan Mitchell. They had to because they knew, you know what, like this wasn't where they were at. It's not where they want to be. So they move Gobert and they gotta move Donovan Mitchell. Do I think they could have done something different? Yeah, I definitely think they could have done something different. Um, yeah, I'm just not a huge fan of all this. You're not gonna get the draft picks that you want. Going back to Rudy Gobert, he set the market and they changed the market to me. They're like, no, no, that's not it. He cannot be worth 4 draft picks. They messed up, and it's probably going to come down to one of the worst trades of all time. Now, what the Raptors are looking for is like that Paul George ish type of trade where you get a young player, you get maybe a couple pieces here and there that are be traded or whatever you can do with them. That's not bad. Now, do I like a potential offer from the Pacers more than Atlanta? Yes, I'll be honest about it because the Pacers will probably have to trade. If I'm Masai, I'm asking for Nemhard and Mathurin. I'm asking for both of the Canadian guys back to Canada because I believe Mathurin can turn into a really good shooting guard. I believe, Nemhard can turn into a really good point guard. So I believe that if I bring them on, that's what I want. Then you have to get a Buddy Hield, which you would flip for something even greater because Buddy Hield is going to be someone that like everyone's going to look for. Everyone wants Buddy Hield. His ability to shoot, one of the best 3-point shooters in the league. You may get a draft pick and like a second rounder from like a first rounder and a second rounder for Buddy Hield if you were to get someone like him, if you were to trade a Pascal. So when I hear those deals, I'm like, yeah, that's something. Of course, you answer the phone, you consider. So to me, no person is untradeable. There's really guys like Giannis is untradeable, Jokic is untradeable, Luka is untradeable, and like Victor Wembanyama are untradeable. Is everyone else tradable? Like if the Denver or the Dallas Mavericks called the Boston Celtics and said, "Hey, we'll trade Luka for Jason Tatum or something," I think they may do it, right? That's what also makes me think like everyone's tradable. Maybe not Jokic or Giannis are the only guys who are not like. There's no one that you're gonna replace them with that you're gonna feel like this team got better, right? You're not doing all that. Like unless you're really just gonna go young, you go, Giannis for Victor Wembanyama. Like then you do something like that. And it's worth like, at least we have, a Giannis. So no one's really untradeable. So you listen to everything. But yeah, I'm just not for this whole consistent Pascal disrespect, I want to call it the consistent Pascal trade, the consistent Pascal conversations. Like if I go on Twitter right now, this is not great podcasting, but it's a podcast. So you can kind of live and act the best way you can. If I go on another, see, like there's some person who seems to be getting like random facts right about the NBA, and it's gone viral. I wonder how Siakam feels about the city where Lil Baby and Quavo are from, which is Atlanta. Uh, which is Atlanta. See, there's another post from I just saw this right now from DeAndre Hunter that's saying goodbye, which I don't know. I don't think that's a thing at all. I'm just not a big fan at all of you go on Twitter and you constantly see trade this, trade request, or we should let go of Pascal and he's not around the team. Like what are we doing? People are saying it's Michael Green from Sportsnet, who I think is a really good writer and a person who knows a lot about the Raptors. He's very plugged in and he gets it. He's no smart no stupid person at all. I would love to talk to him one day. And saying that, I just I don't know what's going on. Like I don't like hearing all this. If I'm Pascal, I don't like it either. If I'm Pascal, I feel like calling my side like, hey, if you keep like bringing up my name, I want to leave. Everyone believes Jaylen Brown doesn't want to sign the extension. He's gonna sign it because it's the most money he can make, then he'll probably ask to leave. That's the new wave. The new wave is to sign your contract and then wait about a year and then leave. Like, just why would you want to be a part of that squad? So maybe, Pascal do the same thing. He can make the most amount of money there. So he'll do all that. If he makes all NBA, he makes even way more money there signing the extension. But it's something that he wants to do. Someone like an OG, would it make sense for him to sign it now? It makes sense for him to go to unrestricted to get that deal, that like mega deal that he can get. I'm just not a fan of this whole Pascal stuff, talk, right? I'm not a fan of why would he feel committed? Why would he be committed to this team? There's no reason to be committed to this team at all when you're constantly in trade rumors. Like, you're gonna trade this guy for the Atlanta Hawks. Who are you getting, Jonte Murray? Like, this is where I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm not a fan of this. You're not getting anything properly back. I get that, we want to go into the new phase of Scotty Barnes. But in going to the new phase of Scotty Barnes, you need to pray, like, I honestly pray that you get a top 6 pick. Because if you don't, it's going away, it's leaving. So if you are like okay, if you're average, then like what does that get you? I don't know what Detroit's going to become this season. They have a good coach. They got some shooting around that squad, so they're going to be good. I don't care about Orlando. Washington will be the worst team in the East, so we can count on them probably having a top 3 pick this coming draft. You need to be as bad as them. Then you go to the Western Conference. I don't know what Minnesota's doing. Maybe, but they should be good because they have a buttload of talent, and Anthony Edwards is one of my favorite young players right now. So there's a lot of teams. OKC, expect them to be better. Houston, I don't know, but they don't even have the draft picks either. Like, we don't have your draft pick. The goal is to win. Like, Brooklyn hasn't traded any other players. They actually got more players because they can't afford to lose. They don't have a proper draft pick. So I don't know. I feel like this coming draft pick is clearly everyone's just being switched over. You don't know where it's going. The Raptors would really have to tank and pray for the basketball god to give them like easily a top 4, top 5 pick. You can't go 6. You can't. I didn't go 6. It goes to the Spurs, but I could be wrong. But you have to be really bad, and I just don't understand the purpose of doing all that. That was really like my last thing I was going to talk about. I wanted to originally talk about Fred VanVleet. With Fred, he feels like a shoe. I'm not sure if it's disgusting, whatever. With Fred VanVleet, ultimately, it's like this. He did decline his ability to extend. Smart on him. It was 114. He just got a bag, so we got 130 for 3 years. He made the right choice. He bet on himself again, made the right choice. But it's clear to say like the Raptors did want to keep him. But it's funny that 114, the report is that it went down to 90. They only want to do 90. You don't know. You weren't there. I wasn't there. We can have all the reports we want. Fred knows, Masai, Bobby, and all the agents know. So I'm not sure about all that. But he discussed the tension between potentially, once again, another report. I think it could be Michael Grange again. So it's just a lot of Michael Grange reports. Of Pascal and Fred, and probably Thad Young too, because that viral video that came out like months back. Them against the young guys. And I'm trying to think, who are the young guys? Is it Gary Trent? Is it a Scotty? There's always reports that Scotty and Fred didn't get along. I do think Scotty's personality, he's very fun loving, even though I feel like this season he wasn't so much. He wasn't the goofy kid. He wasn't doing all that. It wasn't like I didn't see the hugs of this. Like I didn't see the smile. I didn't see the energy. And I feel like the lack of energy from Scotty's end, what clearly was a problem. Masai did sit down with him and say like, "Hey man, if you don't want to be here, let me know." Called him out on it because it wasn't good. So there was a tension. Everyone can tell. The buzzword is vibes. The vibe wasn't well for this team. People weren't getting along. It was clear as day that this was happening for this Raptors team. So you ask yourself when you're thinking about it, who could have made it better? Well, I think Nick Nurse could have made it better. I think Nick Nurse and Fred got along very well. I think they're cut from the same cloth. Of we have to grind to get where we are today. And I think that's the difference. So this Raptors team, like even in the past, right? All about grinders. at one point. Marc Gasol was a second rounder. Serge Ibaka was a first rounder at the time. But you have Norm a second rounder, OG a first round, but late first round. Of course, Fred being undrafted and Pascal being a 26th, 27th pick. Same with Kyle Lowry. So like everyone had to scratch and crawl to get to the position that they're in. At one point, you have, young Gary coming from a team like Duke, requested guy. People want him on their squad. You have Scotty Barnes, a top four pick. And maybe that's just what it was. Like, it just was a bunch of young guys who kind of like were always kind of around, um, like always had the ability to be a top performer. Didn't really have to grind as much as a Scotty. I mean, as a Fred and a Pascal. So maybe that just didn't bolt well, right? The infamous argument between Scotty and Thad Young was just Thad Young telling him to lock in. It was just him telling him like, "Hey, like let's go. Like we need you to be a top player for this team." Scotty's like, "Oh, I'm locked in. I'm good." But it's like, no, I need you to be like locked in. We're not good enough not to be locked in. So you can tell that the team was a little distant. But once again, that's what happens when you lose games. When you lose games, you start pointing at each other. You start looking at a friend going like, "You shoot too much shots." You start looking at OG and be like, "Hey, OG, stop handling the ball." You start looking at Pascal and go, "Hey, you're our number one guy." There was no structure, there's no order. This team needs structure. The team needs order. Every team needs structure and order. At the end of the day, the year that they made it, they won like 48 games. Pascal, Fred, OG, Scotty, and then Gary. Like it was like you knew the pecking order. It's like this year, of course, with the rookie of the year coming, he's thinking more of himself. Then there's OG who wants more. There's once Fred left, there was a report that OG was looking to handle the ball more. When everyone talks about this team's future, they talk about OG and Scotty. They're the future. I don't know sometimes if I would always include OG just because I know he's older, but I think he's the guy that can still get you the three first round picks that you're looking for. And then you start young. Like as much as I love an OG and you want an OG type of player, the OG that like we're like in love with and the player that was the guy that we needed, where he is right now is what we needed during the Kyle and DeMar times. Like you don't see it. That's what we needed at that time. The Kyle and DeMar time. We needed an OG, but we don't have that guy. So I'm unsure if what the team wanted, the vision that Messiah and Bobby had, was exactly it wasn't what came out. I was not sure. It didn't come out. What they wanted from those guys, nothing showed of it. And a lot of it is the case of the players currently just not buying in. I don't want to go straight to Nick Nurse. But Nick Nurse a little bit was the problem too. He didn't speak well with the young guys. Clearly, that's why he's better for a veteran team, or you're better for like just everyone being young, and you just keep fighting and helping them grow. But this team just they missed the fight, and then the losing of the fight is what caused the I think what caused a lot of the mess. Even Scotty last year, not this past season, the season before his first season, he fought to prove why he should have been drafted fourth overall. And now you look at like remocks of the draft. I love Franz Wagner, but I think we're low key dissing, and I like Giddy a lot too. But I think we're low key dissing um, Scotty Barnes, and I think one of the worst parts about it is that Scotty still averaged like more assists, and his points were about the same as rebounds was. He just had the same season he had last year. I once again always say I think it's the fans' fault for having like un like unintent like un I want to use the right word. The fans weren't smart with their thought process of what they thought he could be this season. They just weren't. It was unimaginable what they were thinking. They wanted 25 points a game. It just wasn't, yeah, it wasn't right at all, at all. Other things I wanted to talk about, well, sorry, another thing that Fred had said, well, first he talked about the separation, then he talked about like his relationship with people, and that like he still has love for the team. He just wanted to make the best decision for him. Kudos to him. He did his thing. Talked about, he was lying to the media essentially. And it's funny, like that he just admitted that he was lying. I respect that. I respect the fact that he was like, "Hey, I lied. Like I lied. It wasn't me. It was me that declined it." So whoever reported it was clearly right. Now, my the thing that I want to chat about, not I want to say grinds my grapes. I don't know, but where I'm a little frustrated at, Bobby and Masai is not trying to get another guard. And last season, we were missing a center. We got that in Pirtle. Luckily, he resigned. This team still needs a guard. Now, I love Marquise Noah. I really do. Like, I like him a lot. Honestly, on this squad, like, if I don't see anything from Malachi and if I don't see anything from Jeff Downing Jr., I don't see why this guy doesn't become that next member to play. Honestly, to play, not just have the Fred type of trajectory playing the 5. I mean, this guy can play. Now, what does that get you? Probably doesn't get you a lot of wins. So when people talk about the starting unit, I hope people are smart enough to know that Grady Dick's not starting. He just has an explosive training camp, but the starting unit is going to be, Scotty at the 1, Gary at the 2, OG 3, Pascal 4, Proto 5. Still think that's a quality starting unit. Um, I do want to see Scotty take over a little bit more. I do want this team to gravitate to Pascal more. Like I want them. I felt like Pascal, and maybe I'm in the not in the majority of this, didn't get the ball when he needed to get the ball. I think Pascal is good enough. You got to force feed him. Like even if he's off, you got to force feed him. I think he's your best player on the team. And I think what he can do is, I think he can do more. I think push him to do more. Now, like I said, I think he's probably a second guy in the championship winning team. Maybe not a number one guy, but I think he can still do more with them. I think Pascal this season, with the loss of Fred, you need 26 points a game. You really do. You need 26, 8, and 7. And I know that's crazy numbers to say, but he's de facto your second point guard. You go Scotty and then it goes Pascal. The two guys are going to handle the ball the most with an OG and a Gary doing a lot of that as well. Where I believe Pascal can get a lot of assists is through pick and rolls with Yak. I think that can happen a lot. And I kept saying I'm going to talk about Pascal's leadership, but I think within itself, it's his own video. I'm not sure if it's a podcast or not, but it's its own video. Pascal's leadership. That's the one thing that's going to have to step up, no matter what. He has to be vocal, and all that stuff's gonna have to happen. Now, like I said, what's I would say annoying me the most is, like I said, the lack of getting a guard. I do believe the Raptors still need one more guard. I like Dennis Schroeder, good bench guy. Grady Dick will come off the bench, but this team, I think arguably the best version of this team is still kind of Gary coming off the bench, but you don't have a better version of Gary now. I think you need to somehow get that, or you need to package Boucher, and I like Boucher. I would say to Boucher's face, Boucher, you're a good player, and if it's not Boucher, maybe Precious, but one of the forwards that you have, you need to go out there and get a guard because lengthwise, wingswise, this team is still very lengthy. They haven't changed that. Otto is 6'9". Jalen McDaniels is like 6'9". Like this team is still very lanky. Precious Achua is still 6'10". Like these guys are all have size on them, Boucher. But now you kind of look at a Boucher, a Precious, even the Jalen McDaniels, they all kind of do the same thing. And you need a little bit more versatility in your offense. You need another guard. I like Marcus Noah. So you're telling me they know what the Raptors are going to go all in on him, and he's going to be a guy that's going to play spot minutes because you can already say this Raptor team is honestly guys you want to play like 90. You're the 5 starters that I mentioned. Your bench is Dennis Schroeder, Precious, Boucher, Otto Porter, and Grady Dick. You already got 10 guys already, right? So it's like, you know what? This team's kind of solid, but to me, you maybe package, and I kind of want to keep a Thad Young, but if it matches for a trade, you got to do it. You package Thad, Boucher, and get it done. Mind you, I do think they need that. I think this team, in order to get to whatever place they want to get to, They need Thad Young to be a veteran leader, talk more. Like I would ask Thad to talk all the time. He has to be the guy who, when he sees the team not going well, coach is aside. Okay, Thad Young is about to yell at them and be like, "Hey guys, no, step up. We need better from everyone." Because leadership matters in this team. Like that's the next step for PASCAL. Everyone needs to be a leader. I don't see OG talking as much. Scotty can talk a little bit more. Gary's more not really a talker, but you're gonna need Thad Young's leadership. Otto Porter, you need the vets there. Now, do I think this team would be better if Otto Porter was healthy most of that season? Yeah, I think having another veteran leader, the vets will outweigh the young guys. The vets play more. Vets win games. Vets wins titles. Vets wins playoff series. Like vets are needed. No matter what, DeAndre Jordan played 3 minutes in the NBA Finals because you can trust him over Thomas Bryant. It's just what it is. Always is gonna be what it is. Um, so yeah, I really think and Koloko, oh my God, I didn't talk about Koloko. Koloko's another guy that you want to play. I never mentioned Malachi Flynn yet or Jeff Downs Jr. So it's once again, I think, where this team is, and it's happened again. There's so much guys that you want to play, but I believe the Raptors need a better guard than Gary, or Gary takes a leap, and I'm open for it. I want to see Gary take a leap. I want to see Gary become an amazing shooting guard, a top 10 shooting guard. I would love to see all that. That's not where he is right now. People see him more as a gunner. And you want him to be in that Jordan Clarkson field. If he is, then he should come off the bench. If he's not, they need something a little bit better. Or you just need someone who's comparable to Gary. And then Gary still starts, but then you have another gunner that comes off the bench, right? Jordan Clarkson already signed, so I don't think he's tradable. But I would love to have someone like that, someone who can get you buckets at any moment. I wish Armani Brooks was a little bit of a better defender because he's a guy that I think like you can come off the bench, shoot the ball, shoot the lights out. For some reason with the Raptors, these guys can't shoot the lights out. I would have liked something like that, or if they got someone like a Utah Watanabe. Obviously, he didn't. I'm saying Utah Watanabe from Brooklyn because clearly the Utah from Raptors couldn't hit corner three, but this Utah can score 40% off the corner three. So I think if we had that, that'd be better. But also Otto Porter, he matters, man. I'm telling you, this guy plays 50 games this season. You're gonna be happy because that matters. That helps you along the way. So that's something that I would have wanted to see as well. But I don't know. This Raptors team is still you can tell the pieces aren't made yet. They're not made yet. I want to see what else can happen. I did want to quickly check Twitter because you never know when something happens. Okay, I don't think so. Okay, hold on. I see that there's a potential multi-team trade where Miami could trade Tyler to the first round pick, 3 rounds picks for Dame. Okay, that's just old news, I guess. I think we're still doing that. But yeah, I just think I would love to see no more Pascal talks. I'm so tired of that. So tired of Pascal talks. I'm so tired of hearing just hearing bullshit, honestly. I hope Pascal stays. I still love this Raptor team so much. And as much as everyone wants to trade every person that's on the team, I kind of like some of the players. I do still believe in like someone like Malachi. I think a healthy minutes load and having a coach who supports him can go a long way. I even think like, I kind of hate the thought of losing Donald Banton. I know he hasn't really shown much, but it's weird. During the summer league, then during the playing with Team Canada, he was like their lead guy. So I just think like we can exploit that more when we need to. So I wish we can see more of that as well. That's just my thoughts. That's my Raptors weekly. I went on a too much of a long spiel with the Pascal that I just had to share that. I'm hoping we can see a trade with a Boucher or that to get a guard, or there's no really real guard. Like even if they got an Austin Rivers, like I'm okay with that. Then you still have someone like Gary who starts, and Austin Rivers can still give you some points, right? Like, Austin Rivers can still give you. He's a shooter, so like I just think the Raptors need an additional shooter on the squad, a shooting guard primarily who can help out. So when a Pascal and Scotty are driving it to the basket, they have options at the wings, or they have the pick and roll center in a Pirtle. Because people think, oh, it's gonna be clogged up with Scotty and Pascal and Pirlo, and you're going to need a Scotty and a Pascal to shoot the three more. Yes, they will need to shoot the three better. There's no question about that. They both mans will have to shoot the three much better. I'm not denying any of that. In saying that, I do think when you have a guys like Gary and an OG who can shoot like 35 plus percent, when you put an auto there, you shoot positively. If you get a good precious shooting year, get a good Boucher shooting year, I still think it's good. Grady Dick's your best 3-point shooter. Things can happen. But I do think they need that one additional shooter as well to help the squad. But yeah, that's just my thoughts right now. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Follow the TikTok as well. I post more on that too. And I'll talk to you guys again. Peace.